Hi guys, welcome to this video. I'm Prashant, I'm the founder of Word Pandit, and I'm bringing this series of videos to you wherein I explain previous year CAT questions. Here we've got a CAT 2018 RC question. We'll evaluate. Before we do that, I would request you to go through the passage analysis video for this particular passage. It's going to greatly help you understand the nuances of this passage. Now, what does this specific question probe? What does it ask? All of the following can be a possible feature of the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001 except. So these are four possible features. One of these is the odd one out. One of these is the misfit. It does not fit these options. Remember, the given nature of these answer options is purely hypothetical in nature here, right? The author here has given us hypothetical scenarios and we've got to judge which one of these correlates with the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001. Now, what is the context? What is the implication of this act? Let's refer to the lines. The context states these include goal displacement. Now, this is the problem with metric fixation. So one of the problems with metric fixation is goal displacement, which basically means goals are changed, which comes in many varieties. When performance is judged by a few measures and the stakes are high, for example, keeping one's job, getting a pay rise, raising the stock price at a time that the stock options are vested. So these are all situations where if you do not perform up to the mark, you're going to lose a lot. So the stakes are very high. People focus on satisfying those measures, often at the expense of other more important organizational goals that are not measured. So you might actually, it's basically what you're doing is you will, whatever you are getting in the short term, whatever you are getting deriving out of that situation based on that metric, you take that for yourself and you forget about the other larger goals. Now, an example of this is, the best known example is teaching to the test, a widespread phenomenon that has distorted primary and secondary education in the US since the adoption of No Child Left Behind Act of 2001. Now, what do we mean by teaching to the test? What does it refer to? The fact that this is referring to is something which is implied here. What is the implication? Now, what is being done here is there have standardized tests have been created, and these test scores, they determine in turn obviously the educational future of the child. Also, along with these tests, right, what is being linked? The performance of the school, teachers, etc., etc. That is why the implication here is teachers and schools are teaching to the test. So they are setting aside long term education objectives. Those are being set aside. Learning is not important now. What is important? Student scores in tests. Hence it is called teaching to the test. So anything outside the purview of the test which might be useful, which might be beneficial for the student, is left out, and instead what does the teaching methodology focus on? It focuses on the test itself. Now, three of the four options are going to show this relationship, right? They are going to show this relationship of how teaching to the test is altering the approach of schools, teachers, students, because they have vested interests. Remember, why do people change their goals? Because the stakes are high, right? When performance is judged by a few measures, you focus on satisfying those measures at the expense of other goals. Option number A, standardized test scores can be critical in determining a student's educational future. Now, this is a feature of the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001. This has an impact. This correlates with the fact that the student is teaching to the test and learning according to the tests. Hence, this aligns with this act. The focus is more on test taking skills than on higher order thinking and problem solving. So the focus of schools and teachers is not on learning, but it is on test taking skills. Another feature, remember, teaching to the test is what you've got to remember, keep in mind here. School fundings and sanctions are tied to yearly improvements shown on tests. So now learning objectives are thrown out of the window, and what is it that you are focusing on? You are focusing on performance improvement on the test itself, and funding is tied to that. Again, it is linked to teaching to the test. So A, B, C are all things which would lead to, or which would be linked to, tests itself, and implications derived from this, benefits, implications, correlations derived from the test and its preparation. Option number D states assessment is dependent on the teacher's subjective evaluation of the student class participation. Now this does not link up with the test. This does not link up with the standardized test that this act has promoted, right? Now you are saying the teacher will subjectively evaluate the student's class participation. So this is outside of the parameters which are involved in those tests. Hence, this is the odd one out. This is the misfit. The other three options are related to standardized testing. Option number D is not. It's the misfit, and hence it is the correct answer in the given case. Hopefully so you are clear with the question now. Thank you very much for watching this video, and as always, happy learning.